All right, welcome everyone for my first intuition seminar online via Zoom. This is my absolute favorite topic. This is my passion. It has been for 20 years now, and I haven't gotten tired of it. And in fact, everything that's happened in my life that has been growth came through from the direction I received a long time ago to teach intuition. And I had to teach it without learning what it's about from books, from people. I had to figure it out for myself. And as I knew I always had to teach it, I approached it from a very interesting angle, always observing the process so that I could teach it. And so I came across some way of accessing intuition and why it's important that I hope is unique. And one of the lessons I've learned about intuition is that by using your intuition, you're actually going to become more aware of your uniqueness and your contribution to whatever it is that you're doing in the world. So we could have one topic, say medicine, and how to diagnose, how to treat, how to, whatever you want to call it. And yet each of us, in embracing our own individuality about the topic, will contribute something that is new and fresh and necessary that only you can contribute. So there's no such thing as a topic's been identified, it's been figured out, it's done, everybody just replicate it. There's no such thing with the way that God has designed the world. So I've really been excited about intuition because I got to connect to my nature, my emotions, my uniqueness, and celebrate helping everybody else discover their own. And I also really value the contribution that this makes to everyone's lives and to everybody around them. So it's a very, very, very favorite topic of mine. I'm curious to see how we can do the question section of intuition, because I like to use a seminar, the workshops. The way to teach it is to put you in a situation and get you receiving information. And through your receiving information, you learn what it is. That's the best way to teach it, according to me. So I'm curious to see how it will work in a online setting like this when you're not in person. So to start with, let's have everyone think about, why do you want your intuition? Why do you want it? What do you want to use it for? What do you feel you need it? You can come on camera and speak, or you can use a chat box and type in your answer. But why do you want intuition? Jill?
I think for me, I use it and I want to develop it more for as a guiding force.
Okay, for guidance, yeah. So you're seeing it as kind of like a mentor?
Yeah, a little bit. A mentor, a learning source, so I guess still mentor, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So a way to learn some information and stuff like that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Amy say it's a compass. She sees it as a compass for life. Intuition can be a compass. Absolutely. What else? Casey?
For me, I want to use it as a tool to connect closer with God.
Yeah.
And with my guides.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a way of connecting and having a relationship with your guides. Absolutely. And for the longest time, I wasn't open to the idea of guides. I just wanted answers from whoever, whatever. I didn't even know where the answers were coming from. Are there people out there who are answering? For decades, that wasn't my approach. I had a lot of fears to work through about it, but it still worked. It still worked really well. Yeah. What else?
For me, it's about like taking that gut instinct
Mm-hmm.
and asking on a bigger level, like, where is this coming from?
Mm-hmm.
Is this so like guided by my spirit guides, or is this coming from a darker place? So I'd really like to hone in that tool, and I'd like to see it come from more of a loving place, so that when I'm making decisions in the world that are coming from that intuition,
Yeah.
I want to know where it's coming from.
So you're already receiving gut feelings. You just want to know, can I trust it?
Yeah.
How can I learn to trust it? And Sasha brought a good point that she also find intuition can help you to help others. If you're a helper or a healer, then receiving intuition can help you to know, how can I help somebody else? What can I do for that person? Sasha is also a naturopathy doctor. So, I mean, all of us here are healers. So it's really, really helpful when you're working with somebody, talking to somebody, to go, what can I do here? How can I help? And you get used to the process. So you ask the question, you wait, something comes true, and you're going, oh yeah, that's a good approach. So you get comfortable with keeping a bit of that part of you open to constantly receive a stream to help others. Yeah. Otherwise, for me, I'll be coming from addictions. So if I can keep the intuition open, then there's a chance that I can bypass my addictions and come from some truth. What else?
Dharm,
Yes, hi.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, this is Lindsay. It's been a long time.
Where
Anyway,
are you?
we'll get into that. So nice to hear your voice.
Yeah. How come you're calling from the phone? Where are you?
I'm in Vancouver right now, but
Okay.
I'm having to go to a baby shower, so I'm in the midst of walking.
That's fine. Good. So good to hear.
Yeah, I know. So good to hear from you. Sorry, everyone else. I don't want to do the small chat. For me, I'm much like the other woman that just spoke. It's to strengthen my intuition and what I already know. And I find, like, with age and with getting more into the healing modalities that and more into meditation, everything like in the spiritual realm, that it's becoming louder and louder and more clear. And it's really just trusting it.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely something that we want to, and the more you practice intuition in a group like this, the more you start to get a feel for what that is and how to move forward. Yeah. Beautiful question. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah. And just keep jumping in with more comments. Anybody else? For me, I like to find solutions. I actually will have a problem and I will say, get me out of this. How do I solve this? How do I solve my day-to-day life problems? How do I solve financial issues? How do I solve relationship issues? Which way to go forward next with my life? So it's okay to use intuition to ask for solutions for your problems. It's not selfish to do that. Casey, do you have a comment? Or are you agreeing?
I agreeing, but I also have one more to add.
Okay.
I think that this technically is encompassed by what Sasha said in helping others, but to help spirits that are stuck.
Yeah, that's right.
As well, because they're around all the time anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what Casey's referring to is that when we pass away, spirits, they're just people who don't know how things are, how things happens, how the world is created. And we are stuck in certain emotional places and don't know how to go forward. And because we're stuck in the emotion and didn't know we have to feel it, we get stuck. And so a lot of spirits tend to stick around Earth instead of moving on. Or they move on and come back and move on and come back. And so we can do a lot by using our intuition. As you develop your intuition, you may realize that you're actually really mediumistic and that you want to use that gift to help people who have passed. So Casey and I like to do those kind of exercises. I've joined a group that also really helped me train that ability in myself. It's the choice that you make to develop that part of you and to learn how to help people. And generally, the help you're giving is because we're still in the physical plane. People who have passed tend to trust us instead of trusting their spirit guides who look really good, who are shiny, who look bright. So we're mostly just doing introduction. We're mostly just trying to engage a conversation and go, okay, this is what you're stuck with. There's somebody that can help you. So you're trying to get them introduced to their spirit guides. And generally when you're helping spirits, we have a lot of help around us to engage the conversation. So Casey and I have never felt in any threat, in any danger when we do this kind of help, because we get a lot of help and our intentions are pure, somewhat pure. So those things are one way of using your intuition with time, if that's what you decide to do. Yeah, sounds scary, because we all have a lot of fears about stuff like that, but there are a lot of people around us all the time. Half the time the thoughts in your head are not yours, they're coming from a lot of our friends from around us. Okay, what else would you like to use intuition for? Yes.
I find that it makes things just flow so freely and easily.
Yeah.
And like all those blockages of like not being in my emotions, when I set the intention to be like, okay, what's my intuition telling me? And just I follow it outside of logic and reasoning.
Yeah.
Everything just falls into place.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So you can have the path of least resistance by following your intuition. Absolutely. Okay. We've got some really good reasons for using it. There's some reasons that you have not mentioned so far, but it's always operating. One is, how can I say stay safe? How can I keep myself safe? How can I avoid problems? How can I avoid dangerous people? How can I avoid dangerous situations? So we do have that desire driving why we want intuition that we're not wanting to feel about, because then you got to feel the fear, you got to feel all of that, but it's also driving. For some of us who's been very traumatized, we're constantly hypervigilant and we're constantly trying to be safe. So we're trying to use our intuition to stay safe. And but we also have spirit guides that are trying to keep us safe and are trying to give us signal or messages to keep us physically safe. So there is that conversation, there is that relationship as well. And also, the other thing that we could emphasize more is to get to truth. You want to use your intuition for truth. That's the best way to get the best out of your intuition. What is the truth about the situation? What is really going on for me? What is really going on for the person? What is the truth about the situation or about some question you have about life? So if you're seeking truth and if you're aware of your real motivation for why you're asking it, you will really engage your intuition very clearly. Okay, thoughts on that? Jill, you have a lot of wheels turning in your head. Do you have any thoughts?
Wow, I have become transparent. Which is cool. That's fine. Yeah, I was thinking about this staying safe. So, just a tiny little story. I was having a conversation with one of my students about emotion and how emotion is energy in motion. And we were talking about fear and anger, and I was struggling a little bit to express how how, if without fear and anger, how can you stay safe? But that clicked it together as far as that intuition part. It's a big, huge, longer story. I'm trying to make it shorter, but that clicked together. So that's where the wheels were turning. Yeah.
Really good. Thank you. All right. What are our blocks to intuition? What is stopping us from engaging our intuition? Or why do we feel we are unable to engage? What do you guys think? Some of you have already mentioned it. Casey?
Judgment.
Oh, judgment. How come?
Others judging me. I'm weird. I'm, that's, who are you talking to? There's nobody there.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay, that's a block.
I think for me, it's fear that I'm making it up in my head, that I can't do it. I get in my own way.
Yeah. So making it up, and what was the other thing you said? You're making it up, or?
I think I'm making it up. I fear that I can't do it.
Yeah, that I don't have the ability.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Absolutely, that's a good block. Okay.
Yeah.
What else? Steph.
Well, I mentioned it in my desire to wanting to build it was self-doubt. Like
Yeah.
I doubt myself, so therefore I don't have the trust.
Yeah. Well, actually, how to know if you can trust the information is a valid journey to go on.
Yeah.
How do I know what I can trust? I am still feeling about those questions for myself. How do I know what to trust? How do I know what is truth? Now, just the very question is going to drive the journey to help you clarify, but it takes a very long time. You got to keep feeling all your emotions about it. To get clarity more and more and more, and to be will. So basically, I finally said, you know what? I'm afraid of being wrong. I'm petrified that I'm wrong. And I can just go into shakes for like days and days of like, oh my God, I'm wrong. Am I wrong? Was I wrong? Oh my God, I was wrong. Terrified of it, which is all about some childhood events. But the fact is that because we still have a lot of denied emotions and we still have a lot of untruth inside of us we haven't healed, it is going to affect our ability to receive completely accurate information. And that's okay. It is okay. It takes time to develop that. And I usually ask for confirmation. I will usually ask, can I get this confirmed? Can I get this verified? Can you give me some evidence to confirm it? So, I would ask those kind of questions. I don't know if I feel like I can trust this right now. And I'm allowed to say that. I may receive information and decide, yeah, or I could even feel, you know what, this is probably accurate. I still don't want to do it. I still don't want to obey. So another block we may have to intuition is that once I hear an instruction, I'm going to have to do it. No, you don't. That's usually another block. You can't tell me what to do. It's a big block. And
so how do you know, like for evidence and confirmation, what would that example look like? Or is that something we're going to explore in these conversations? Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. And that it takes time to work through knowing what is truth and what you can trust. Now, if you have like, how do I know if I can trust it? Well, work through all of your emotions about your trust being betrayed, which is a lot. So you're gonna have to work through your pain of being deceived. And I have been deceived. I have had spirits that pretended to be my guides and that deceived me for years and years, and it's probably still going on. And only as I started to heal my childhood issues that I became sensitive to the emotion of somebody having an edge in their intention, to feel someone's intention. But that means I had to remember how people in my childhood deceived me deliberately and what that pain feel like. And once I woke up to that pain, then I can feel when somebody else have the same intention. Now that pain is awake. So it's about your soul becoming sensitive again. And so you got to remember when you were deceived, when you were told to trust, but it wasn't something you could trust, or you were forced to trust that person, even though a little voice in your head as a 3-year-old went, I don't think this is true. But you had to shut that down and were forced to trust in order to maintain a relationship with the caretaker, with the teacher, with the church, with, however it showed up. So those issues are going to have to be healed before you learn to trust.
Thank you.
Yeah. What else are your blocks? I love how one answer or question will trigger 10 more questions. We're good. That is Aspen. Hi, Aspen. Okay, so no more blocks to why you're not accessing your intuition? How about not knowing what to ask? Yeah. What, can I ask certain question? Or the fact that it's about asking questions. Intuition is engaged by asking questions. So if you don't know that you're supposed to ask questions or how to frame the question, what you can ask about, that would be a block as well. And another block, as I said, was that this feeling of once you know something, you're now compelled to act on it, when actually, when it's your spirit guides, they never compel you, ever compel you. And also, if you're receiving unsolicited advice, it's probably not your guides. Your guides will wait until you ask the question. And even when you ask a question, they will give you the cause. So I find that the best question to ask is, please help me realize the cause of this issue. So if you have issue in your relationship, what is the cause of this conflict? What is the cause in me that is the conflict? Or what is the law of attraction event that I'm supposed to feel about this? So you're asking for the truth and you're asking for the cause. And what I want to do next is I want us to practice where you have to be in order to even be able to receive answers, which is you have to be in the emotional truth with where you're at right now. And most times we're in addictions and facade with each other, so we're not feeling our own emotions. We don't even know what they are. And last Sunday in the intuition workshop in Vancouver, we changed up how I teach. And it was very, very, like, people had to really start to feel what they were really feeling, which surprises you. As you know what you're really feeling, you get to know who you really are, even if it's a wounded part. So we're going to do some breakout rooms and exercises on how am I really feeling right now. And I don't want you to take too long to think about it. I want it to be fast, snap, 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 snap. So you're going to go word, word, word. I feel this, I feel this, I feel this. Casey and Jess were there last week, so you know what I'm talking about. So that would be a good pair to go with. Let's see, who's in the breakout room? So we will start the breakout room. What happened to the breakout room? Okay, we just had a breakout room where we all practiced the step of becoming emotionally honest. And it must have been a challenging exercise to even connect to what that was. So what was it like for everyone? Would you like to share? Oh, Sash, you mute, Sash, we can't hear you.
Okay, I was just saying it was actually quite freeing for me.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the times I wouldn't feel comfortable telling people what I'm truly honestly feeling.
Yes.
Especially if it would have some sort of implication on them and change how they're feeling.
Yes.
So it kind of felt very nice to just be who I am and not have any qualms about that.
Wow. Yeah. Very freeing. And like what you said, I get to be who I am, which for now is this emotionally raw person in certain certain emotional state that hasn't healed. And that's okay. It's allowed. Okay.
Mhm.
Inside, Sash. Others? What was it like? Anyone? Casey, what was it like for you?
I'm really resistant to saying the truth because I'm like, I really don't want to hurt anybody's feelings on the call. I'm really frustrated, actually. I'm really frustrated.
Okay, very good.
I'll stay with that.
Okay, that's all right. But look at the feeling you have going, oh, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. If I'm emotionally honest in a group where everybody else is taking ownership for their feeling, I'm still going to be hurting somebody else's feeling, which is also something Sasha connected to earlier about this feeling of, I feel guilty if somebody else feels uncomfortable because of me. So good insight. Yeah, that's an emotionally honest place that this is how I am. Okay. Amy, what was it like for you?
Yeah, it was still frustrating, and Jill made a good point about the fact that it seemed like I was circling around a feeling but not actually getting into it. And that's true, because I was mentioning that it felt like a hamster wheel, and yeah, so that was, and then I felt kind of calm after that. But then Jill and I got into it. Jill made a comment that triggered me, and then I think I triggered her back by I told her that I felt like she was making a comment out of judgment, and then I felt like we were just triggering each other, and then that's where it ended.
Okay.
Oh no.
So once the intuitive seminar is over, and I stop recording, if the three of you could stay on and we can just work stuff out a little bit, is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah? Okay. Just so there's some kind of a closure or insight into what was going on. That'd be great. Okay. Good one, you guys. Okay. And Jill, what was that like for you?
It was good. I got into actually some emotions that I had been touching on that I wasn't able to really put words to before. So I got into that. So yeah, it was, I want to say it was a little dark, but it just, it was good. So yeah, it was good. Yeah.
This is, for example, when Amy say, I'm circling the emotion, but I'm not naming it, I'm not being in it. It's because once you name it, now you're going to have to feel it. If you named it, the feeling's going to come up. So if you don't want to feel it, you're not going to want to be connected to it. And that's okay. You're allowed to do that. You're allowed to go, there's something here, I don't want to know what it is. That's where I'm at emotionally. And you can't make me. You're being emotionally honest. A good place to be at. And even just being in that kind of place where you're going, I don't want to feel something and I'm stuck and I'm numb. Actually, you're being emotionally honest. So now you're able to connect to your intuition better. Even though you haven't named the emotion or felt the emotion, you're in. That's it. That's all that's required. It's very free, and also you start to find feelings you didn't know you had. So just by itself, that meditation is very good just to connect to who you really are on a day-to-day basis. Steph, how are you doing? How was it for you?
Hard. I had to really, not in a willful way, but really an aware way of keeping, I wanted to tell a lot of stories that don't need to be said, so I'd catch myself. But what I did share was more in a way that I was scared to share, like connect some dots that had been happening all week. Mm-hmm. So when I started sharing what was relevant and what was coming up, the dots started coming together where now I'm kind of having this verbal diarrhea of stuff downloading and coming together it basically in the recipe of like, this is actually the brevity of what I'm working through.
Yeah.
So it was a beautiful light bulb moment that I was able to share, and being triggered by somebody else's actions and realizing that what they're doing actually has nothing to actually do with me, but the emotion that it's triggering.
Okay.
And even though I was apologizing for those triggers happening within me, I realized that I didn't need to apologize. Like, I just needed to feel my own junk.
Yeah.
And not judge it, but then allow those dots to keep further deepening their connection. And it was honestly a conversation I was too scared to have with my guides all week. So I'm glad that this was their way of opening the channels for it to happen.
And they've been trying to give you this truth all week, and all you had to do was start to become emotionally honest, and everything started to pour in. That's lovely. And it's really not too bad, right? Like, the truth may be worse than you think, but the feelings that come through is like, it's okay, I'm okay. The times when I'm working through the dark stuff and I go, why would anybody like me? Why would my guides want to talk to me? Why would they want to be around me right now? And they're going, oh, you connected to the truth. Yes, finally, we found you. So it's always the opposite of what we think. Yeah. Okay. And it's really good that you're letting yourself feel that. And I want to point something real quickly, that sometimes when you ask a question about asking your intuition, how am I going to solve this situation? What's really going on? And the answer is that your guides will trigger the emotion causing it. So if you're asking for, like, how can I be safe? And next thing you know, you start feeling fear. They're saying, well, release that. You will be safe if you get rid of your fear. Or, you know, how do I resolve a situation with a relationship and some grief starts to come up, some feeling of abandonment come up? They're actually saying, release this emotion because this is the cause. So your guides may go straight to the point and pull the emotion out, but we don't understand that that's what's happening. So we shut the whole thing down going, oh, I don't know what just happened. I was asking a question. I start feeling worse. That wasn't my guide. Not that you have to believe in guides to receive answers, but answer is the emotion. And so if you can just get into the emotion or start to feel like, I don't like this feeling. I don't understand what's going on here. I don't like feeling this anxiety. I don't like feeling the shame. It's enough for you to realize, okay, is the answer. And it took me decades to understand that when I start to feel, so there's an issue going on and I really want to solve this. I really want a solution. I really want to change. Next thing you know, things explode in my life. Everything becomes more volatile. Everything's more emotional. I'm just all over the place. It took me decades to realize that that was solved. I was solving it because the emotion got triggered. Things got riled up. Now I'm feeling about all of it. And now the cause has been released. That was the solution. I was being helped. It took me decades to figure out. Whenever I have a strong desire, I really want this thing now. Why is my life falling apart? What's going on? I wanted this beautiful thing and now everything's gone to shit. That was the solution. That was the answer. Get rid of the emotion that's blocking the desire from manifesting. So that is in itself an answer. So you guys did good?
Okay, I'm going to say goodbye, guys. Thanks so much.
See you next week?
Yes, see you next week.
All right. So don't be too afraid of connecting to how you're really feeling, and how you're really feeling may feel dark when actually that darkness has already been coming out of you the whole time. You just didn't know it. Now you see it. You see what everybody else has been seeing all along. And then they're going, you start having gratitude to people around you because they've been experiencing this coming from you all this while and been continuing to love you and accept you and be patient with you, and all that is good. Yeah. Okay, so let's move along to the next phase. Now that everyone's riled up. The next phase of what I want to do. Do you have some questions that you want to ask about today? Then I can set up a process around it. Is there something you want to know more about? I have a question that I want to ask that we can all ask. and receive the answer so you can practice the intuition itself. But all of you have been in, no, not all of you have been in my intuition workshops, eh? You've only been in the emotional ones. Okay, so fun practice. Any questions you guys want answers to? Yes, Jess.
It terrifies me, but like, who are my guides?
Ah, what a beautiful question. Who are my guides? Okay, yes. And yeah, for decades, I didn't know that I had guides. Kind of maybe I knew there were people around me, but I didn't know I had guides, didn't know who they were, and yet I was constantly receiving support and assistance. But it's kind of nice to know who they are at some point. It's a beautiful relationship to have. Yeah, for sure. So I can talk more about that. Okay. Other questions you guys have?
It's a little wordy, but how can I work through the feeling of feeling used emotionally?
Okay. Okay. Ooh, this is fantastic. We can do the whole 4-question process around this. Okay, so we'll, at the very least in the recording, you'll have, these are the questions you ask, and then you can take the time later to receive the answer more fully than today. Okay, that's good. Which is basically what's happened to every single human being that are born. We are used by our parents for their emotional needs. All of us. It's just a degree to which that it varies. And it's something that even though we want to have compassion that our parents did their best and, you know, whatever it is that we want to see about, we still have to work through the pain that we were used. It's going to come up. And once you work through that, then you're able to forgive your parents, as well as have really good boundaries about not being used emotionally. Which means that if you're always staying in your own emotions all the time, you can't be used. That's the other thing. If you're always emotionally honest with yourself, you're less likely to be used because you're in your emotional truth and you can't be compromised to get a feeling from somebody else and to give them a certain feeling or action in exchange. That barter will not happen. That's what I've learned. So I'm trying to practice how that is possible. To even go, do I have an emotion? What am I really feeling? And when I'm really feeling what I'm really feeling, how do I not judge the intensity of like, I just want power right now, or I'm just angry I'm not getting what I want, or I just want to judge people, or I actually don't like so and so and so. It's not nice to say that, but I just really don't like them right now. You know, how to be okay with processing those feelings, knowing that by doing that, I'm actually healing it. And then I become more me, which is the real person under it, which is the nice, loving person. If that's who you really are, we don't know. You'll be unique and you'll fall in love with who you really are. That's a promise. All right, so let's start with a question. What I like to do is ask a question, and then I ask you to close your eyes, be quiet, and just experience whatever you experience, which is the answer. So I ask a question, and whatever you experience, images, feelings, you hear things, memories, sensations, whatever you're experiencing is the intuitive answer to the question. So the question I want to ask is, what small daily exercise can I do to practice becoming more intuitive? What small daily exercise can I do to practice becoming more intuitive? So if you can just take a moment. I'm going to stop recording for this point right now. All right, so everyone received some kind of answer to the question, what small daily exercise I can do every day to become more intuitive, what you guys received, and what was the form of the answer, if you want to share.
I got a mix of images and some words.
Okay. Do you want to share what did you come up with?
I can share what I actually got. Yeah, I'm fine. So one of my guides, her name is Sarah, and I got journal while talking to Sarah. So like even if it's just making up a question to just continue practice, because one of my blocks is, well, what question do I ask?
Yep.
So just make up a small question.
Yes.
Write it down and receive. Write it down and receive.
That's right. That is one of the early ways that I still do it, is this kind of like a dialogue back and forth. I write down a question and then I start writing down an answer. Anyone ever reads it, they think I'm like split personality, but it's like, it's a dialogue that goes back and forth. And one of the questions to ask is, what questions can I be asking? Because it's all about the question. You ask the right question, the whole world opens to you. So what question should I ask? So one of my passions is about knowing what questions to ask and coming up with some good ones. Good answer, Casey. Anybody else want to share? Jess?
I got meditate, journal, pray, talk to God, talk to your guides.
Okay.
And
which is probably the answer to your question, who are my guides?
well, as soon as I said that, something came through, and
Okay.
yeah.
That's beautiful. Okay, thank you. Who else want to share? Amy?
Before you even finished your sentence, before you even finished your question, meditation already popped in my head.
Okay. Okay. Is there a certain type of meditation that works for you?
Not.
You're a freshly minted yoga teacher, so I just remembered.
Yeah, but I haven't. Yeah,
Okay.
I haven't been in, doing like a dedicated daily practice, and yeah, and this literally, well, it was just a voice. It was my voice. It sounded like my voice in my head, and it just said meditation. Like it was just dead set on meditation.
Okay. And so explore all the different kind of meditations you learn and see which one you like. And sometimes it's a combination of chanting and then quiet meditation. It could be many different types. That play with it, see which works. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Steph, did you get something?
It was just to basically sit as I was right this moment. So a form of meditation that really works for me. And then I was shown just visions of ocean waves just rolling, like just basically to sit still.
Yes. And
allow things to roll through me.
Okay.
Instead of writing. I was very firmly told to, in those moments, just sit and allow. And
allow the experience to affect you.
Allow the experiences and not try to hold on to them and document them. It was just really allow it to be and then let it go.
See, for some of us, writing helps us connect. For some of us, writing helps us control and dictate and manage the experience. So
yeah, and I'm not sure at this point in my life what writing really does mean to me. So I am in that experimental phase of just trying different things with writing or not writing and seeing where that takes me.
Absolutely. Good call.
Yeah.
Experiment, play with it. Okay. Thank you. Lindsay, were you able to get an answer? I know you're kind of on the road. Could have been a little hard to get an answer.
I was sitting down, and for me, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Mine was the exact same as meditation, and it was my voice in my head, and also just quiet, being in quiet.
Okay. Excellent. Very good answers. Thank you. Mine was sing, which is like I receive it 20 times a day. Sing, I know, Casey. And I have not been singing, which tells me that I don't want to connect. There's something I don't want to feel, which singing will trigger. So I'm blocked to it. And also to ask myself, what do I really want right now? What is my real desire right now? To ask that question, to connect to my true desire moment by moment. is another daily practice for me to do. So that's what I got. And when it comes to connecting to your guide, I went on kind of like a 2-year process of even wanting to know who my guides are. So I evoked my desire. So one way of connecting intuition is by really, really getting agitated, really roiling through that desire. I really, really, really want this answer. So I spent almost 2 years praying and crying about, I don't know who my guides are. I really want to know who they are. How can I not know who they are? How come I can't feel them? I'm such an awful person. I'm so grateful they're sticking around me. Like just having that kind of prayer and those feelings for a very long time to really grow my desire to know who they are. And then somebody gave me a gift of mediumship. Somebody said, I would like to channel who your guides are. At first I had a demand. I want somebody to channel and tell me who they are. And I realized that that was actually a demand. So I relaxed. And then somebody offered to channel. And that's how I got some of the names of my guides. And then, but then there was one guide that I wasn't quite sure what his name is. She couldn't get it either. So I just made up a name. I'm like, it sounds like this word. So I just call him that. And since then, I wasn't talking to them as much as I could have. That's the message this past week. I'm not talking to them as much as I can be. But over time, there's a relationship forming. And that trust in that relationship turned out to be a key point. So for some people, you don't need to know who your guides are. You don't need to have a very strong relationship. But I think people who've been very, very traumatized, that strong relationship bond with your guides is what will allow you to trust them to heal you when you surrender to the pain. So that ended up being a very crucial turning point in my own journey in January. But again, it was a choice I was making along the way. I wanted to know who they were. I wanted to have a personal relationship with them. And just this past week, I can actually see them now. So I couldn't even see them before. I could feel, I could guess who they are, and I would address them by name. Hey, Siri, can I get help with this? And then they'll say, no, you should ask Melissa for that one. So they'll send me back and forth going, no, you should talk to Jojo about that one. So they get me to talk to different guides with different gifts and abilities. And it's very hard for me to feel how much they love me. Like I'm so blocked to feeling the pure love they have. Because basically, as much as our parents love us, you cannot compare to how much your guides love you. Their level of purity is so high that you can ask to feel. I would like to feel how much you care about me, or what you think about me, or why do you like me, or why would you even want to be my guide? Isn't it a tough job? Or, ask for their feelings. And it's very overwhelming to feel how they feel about us. And sometimes I channel people's spirit guides just to start practicing how to do it. And then I can see how they see us. And it's made me realize that these feelings that we have that we think are awful and needy, they don't see it that way at all. They feel very, very blessed and honored to have us as their charge. And they see us as equals, which I cannot understand. I see myself as less than. They're the teachers, we're over here. They do not see it at all. And it's very educating for us to feel their feelings, because then you realize that you are not feeling the right feelings. You've not learned the right things from other people on the planet. So just some ideas there for you. Stay in your passion, stay in your quest, stay in your pain about it. Okay, so how being used emotionally, how to work with that. So here are the 4 questions I like to ask. You can ask God, you can ask your guides, or you can just say, give me truth. It's the same thing, same difference. First question is, how was this created in me? How was this created in me that I am used emotionally? Next is, how do God or guides feel about me being used emotionally? What's their feelings about it? 3 is, how can I process? Because by the time you get the answer, you start to see the event, you start to see the memory. How can I process this issue or emotion? How can I process and release this emotion about being used emotionally? And the last question you could ask is, how can I love myself through the process? How can I love myself while I heal being used emotionally? So I usually have a whole set of questions because I'm interested in God's truth about the situation. And when you ask for God's truth, then you start to see where you're at and what truth is. And you know you got to get from A to B. And how was this created can give you a very clear sense of truth about the circumstances that created it. And it usually makes me feel that I'm not to blame and that the situation was really incorrect and it's got to go. So it creates a strong desire. Oh, this situation has got to go. This is awful. So it build a strong desire to heal them emotionally. And then whatever we do, the whole point of our journey is to connect to the emotional cause and release it. That's it. All of our misery that we're in, or whatever desire we want to act on, it's about releasing the suppressed emotion. You just have to find the suppressed emotion and feel it, because that's how you get rid of it. That's the end point of everything we do, from my perspective. So I'm always asking, how do I process? How do I get rid of it? So you may be given the emotion you need to feel. You may be given the exercises you can do to trigger the emotion. You may even in the moment feel your guides helping you to embrace you and actually get it moving right away. So you may get some really good answers. And then for some reason, this question, how to love myself, came up today. Usually that's not a question I generally ask. So it's a question we're all asked to work through. So just one question at a time. How was this created? Wait, receive the answers. And if you're not sure, ask again. Ask again. You can ask the same question every day and receive slightly different angle of the answer, depending on what you're ready for in that moment in time. Because the answer you receive is for here, right now, in this moment. This is a piece you got to work with, which is what I find in all of the work I do with people. I'm always given right here, right now, this is a piece to work with. I'm never given big, long stories about the past and the future, about any situation. So that's the kind of medium I am. And I feel that if you're being guided by the right spirit guides, they only give you the one thing to work with in that moment based on your desire. So just go through all of the questions one by one, receive the answer, and then work with it. So I feel that that's quite enough for today. The chapter was emotional truth, and then we'll see what the chapter will be next week. But we'll start. I want to slowly create kind of like a subject for each week, and then we practice, and then. But I'm really interested in what you guys may receive as answer to this question. So if you want to answer this question and write down your answers, and then next week it'll be interesting to share and learn from it. Any last thoughts before we end for today? And then 3 of you can stay on if you want. Jess?
Just want to say thank you, and thank
Okay.
you in the breakout room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. You got some clarity in how it works? Jill?
Unmute before I talk. Yes, I did on the process for sure on how it worked. Yeah, absolutely. And I got some really good stuff that I'm still like
Thinking about it.
verbally kind of trying to write it down as I'm trying to listen. So yeah.
You have the recording. You received the recording.
Yeah.
You'll be able to go back to, yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So we'll end here. I'll stop the recording and then I'll see you guys next week.